Hello everyone, my name is UltimoFive, and today we're going to be revisiting the Epitaph, the Grim Impaler. Epitaph is Sevagoth's signature sidearm that fires slow-moving slabs that slow enemies upon contact. In order to obtain Epitaph, one must farm Void Storms on the Earth, Venus, and Saturn Proximas and Railjack missions. The materials necessary in order to make it at the foundry are the barrel, receiver, and the blueprint. Requires a mastery rank of 8, comes with 2 V polarity slots plus a dash auxilis slot, and because of this, the builds on this weapon will require 3 to 4 forma. Excels in close to long range combat, dealing with high leveled enemies of all factions against single targets and small crowds. And the Epitaph has a secondary function that, when upon not being fully charged, will release an explosive slab that procs guaranteed cold statuses upon impact with a surface or an enemy. Advantages for the weapon's charge shot would be that it has a very high critical chance, a very high critical multiplier, an innate 2-meter punch through, and a very fast charge speed. Advantages for its uncharged shot would be that it has an extremely high status chance, guaranteed cold procs, and explodes in an 8-meter radius upon impact with a surface or enemy. Advantages overall would be that it has guaranteed impact procs, no magazine, hence no reloading, and if wielded by Sevagoth, then the weapon receives a 20% headshot damage buff. Disadvantages, however, for the weapon's charged shot would be that it has a low status chance. Disadvantages for its uncharged shots would be that it has an extremely low critical chance, extremely low critical multiplier, and explosions inflict self-stagger. Disadvantages overall would be that the projectiles have travel time. The elements for the Epitaph against the Corpus will be magnetic or electricity. Magnetic amplifies shield damage by 100% and nullifies the regen of shields for 6 seconds, which stacks up to 10 times for a total of 325%. Meanwhile, electricity stuns the target for 3 seconds and deals 50% base damage per second for 6 seconds. The build's flex slot is Lethal Torrent for the magnetic build and Lethal Torrent or Sharpened Bullets for the electricity build. Both builds work very well, however magnetic is for more offensive play with shredding shields and reducing shield regen, while electricity is for defensive play that is used for major CC to hold enemies still while shooting them down. The element for the Epitaph against a corrupting Grineer will be Viral. Viral amplifies health damage by 100% for 6 seconds and stacks up to 10 times for a total of 325%. The build's flex slot is Lethal Torrent for the 3 forma build and Primed Expel Corruptor Grineer for the 4 forma build. Both builds work great, and the only real difference is that the 4 forma build has no fire rate increase to help the weapon's charge speed, while the 3 forma build does. However, this lack of charge speed with the 4 forma build can be much better due to the ridiculous bleed proc damage through the utilization of the Corrupted Grineer faction mod equipped. The element for the Epitaph against the Infested will be Gas. Gas yields 50% base damage per second for 6 seconds in a 3-meter radius and stacks up to 10 times to a total of 6 meters. The build's flex slot is Lethal Torrent and is great in all situations against the entire Infested faction. This is mainly due to the Epitaph's uncharged shot being able to take care of normal Infested enemies easily, and then its charged shot being used to take care of the bigger enemies. It works extremely well into Steel Path as well. The Condition Overload Primer builds for the Epitaph focuses on placing as many statuses on enemies for your melee weapons. The build's flex slots are Augur Seeker or Perpetual Agony if you don't have Augur Seeker. However, if Perpetual Agony is used, then the player has to forma at least once or just not equip an ammo mutation mod. This build focuses on status stacks through Cold, Blast, Gas, and Magnetic, which can give a 320% damage increase for one's melee weapon. However, one can easily add Viral and Radiation instead for easy Viral priming instead. Lethal Momentum, in place of having no Auxilis mod. This will cost 2 more forma in order to have, but greatly helps with its slow projectile speed. However, I still suggest sticking with ammo mutation mods. Barrel Diffusion, in place of Galvanized Diffusion if one doesn't have access to the mod through arbitration or doesn't have it. Target Cracker, Pistol Gambit, and Expel faction mods in place of their prime counterparts if one doesn't have them. Perpetual Agony, in place of Augur Seeker if one doesn't have it. And Lethal Torrent in place of the build Primed Expel mod if one doesn't like using faction mods. There are several ways to enhance critical stats and damage for this weapon. For instance, for damage, Rhino's Roar, Nova's Molecular Prime, which makes all sources of damage increase by 100% against primed enemies, Saren's Toxic Lash mixed with her Spores abilities, Mirage's Eclipse adds a massive damage bonus during the day or in light, Equinox's Rest and Rage in day form makes targets more vulnerable to damage, Wisp's Haste Reservoir, which bolsters charge speed in turn increasing DPS, and Chroma's Vex Armor when health gets damage increases weapon damage. For critical stats, Harrow's Covenant can add up to 50% critical chance and 200% on headshots. Volt's Electric Shield when shot through adds a 200% critical damage multiplier. Zephyr's passive increases critical chance by 150% while airborne. Urali's passive increases critical chance by 200% after moving around for at least 1.5 seconds. Theodar's the Kavat with Cat's Eye can give a 60% critical chance boost, and Smita Kavat with Charm can give a 200% crit chance. Arcane Precision. On headshot, 100% chance for 300% damage of pistols for 18 seconds. Arcane Awakening, on reload, 60% chance for 150% damage to pistols for 24 seconds. Arcane Avenger, upon getting hit, 21% chance for 45% critical chance for 12 seconds. Arcane Arachne, upon wall latch, 150% damage for 30 seconds. Secondary Merciless, on kill, 30% damage for 4 seconds, which stacks up to 12 times and comes with 30% reload speed and 100% max ammo. This arcane is for the main faction builds. And Secondary Dexterity, on melee kill, 60% damage for 20 seconds, which stacks up to 6 times and comes with a 7.5 combo duration and 60% holstering speed. This arcane is for the Condition Overload builds. When you get your hands on Riven for this weapon, the flex slot to replace will be what was previously discussed before. This can require one more Forma, and in order to maximize damage output with the Epitaph, one will need to get lucky and get some nice stats. My ideal stats would be damage, critical chance, critical damage, and negative zoom. My ideal stats for the Condition Overload build would be status chance, multi-shot, status duration, and negative zoom. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more guides on Warframe, please click the like and sub buttons to let me know. And as per usual, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.